Truths. It's a channel I've been wanting to make for a while. And basically, purpose of the channel is to make the truth known. There's a lot of stuff going on in our world today, and every other time. It's not new. But I think people really just need the truth. They need to be told the truth. They need to be understood and loved. And that's what I'm going to try and do with this channel. So it's not going to be anything fancy. Just me talking. And I'm just going to try to explain the best I can, especially my faith, my Christian faith. Just how huge a part of it is in my life, and really convey that to people, especially people I don't agree with. I want to get along with you. I don't want to offend you, or I don't want to categorize myself as different than you. This channel is meant to bring people together and explain more fully what God is like without all the other stuff in the way. So, we're going to talk about some difficult things that people don't usually talk about. I think growing up, I got a little bit lost because I didn't talk about a lot of the things that people don't usually talk about. Sex and politics and homosexuality, transgender, just all the topics right now that if you said any of them in regular conversation, I think everyone would get very tense and not know what to say without offending people. And I'm sorry that that's how it is right now. I want this channel to be something that's different. Something where we can talk about this without feeling the sense of needing to take sides, but more in a exploratory and loving kind of way, where we try to really understand where people are coming from, and not immediately react with disagreement and think that disagreeing with someone is the same thing as hating them. Just not. So that's what I'm trying to do. This channel is for people who disagree but want to do so nicely. So because we're kind of trying to avoid internet battles, because that's really not what I want to get into. I'm not trying to prove myself right and beat you in an argument. That's not what this is about. This is sharing my experience, hopefully letting you understand me, and in extension, what I hope is a lot of other Christians who are finding it difficult to talk about what they feel. So if after watching these videos you're not convinced that I'm right, that's totally okay. That's not what this is about. You're here because you want to know more about Christians, and so that's what I'm here to do, and that's okay. I'm not going to try and sell you anything. I'm not trying to push you into something. I just want you to know the truth, or at least what I perceive to be the truth, because I am not the authority on the truth. I can say many things wrong, so I'm sorry about that in advance. I want God to be able to shine through and talk to you through my fumbling words and nonsense. Because a lot of what I say is going to be rambling and nonsense. I'm sorry. It's almost like a video journal in that way. But I don't know, I hope you get something out of it. So, anyways, to introduce the channel, first I wanted to introduce me, some more about me, just so you can kind of understand what my background is. So, I'm 31 years old, and I grew up in a pretty small town. I won't give too many details, just because you never know what can happen on the internet, really. I want to avoid that. I became a Christian around 12. Grew up in a EV-free church, which I don't know if you guys know what that means, but it's basically like, it's like a denomination that includes all people that don't have a denomination. Basically, it's like a church that's focused on bringing people together and not separating over views on certain subjects. And I think it's a really good church to get into if you're looking for a church. Anyways, I became a Christian around 12. Didn't really know what that meant at the time. I did, somewhat. But for me, it was almost like being a Christian was some kind of secret superpower. Like, ooh, maybe like God will do something for me if I'm really good. Which is it's not true. So we'll get to that later. But I had an interesting family growing up. I had one younger brother, and my mom and dad have very separate political viewpoints. My dad is still on the conservative side, and my mom is still on the liberal side. There were a little bit more back then. But that led to a lot of arguments, of course. And it's kind of funny because it kind of put me in this place of wanting to understand both sides and kind of being the mediator between them. So it is one of the things that God used to make me into the person I am today. Throughout school and work, I always had a variety of friends. Some of them Christian, some of them not Christian. Different backgrounds. Not pretending that my small town had that much diversity, because it really didn't. But it's it's in California, so we have a decent amount of diversity here. So generally got a pretty good idea of different viewpoints growing up. Became a mechanical engineer. I always really liked making things. Started in high school when I took drafting classes, which is basically like mechanical drawing. Of course, the printer decides to. Anyways, took drafting classes and really enjoyed that. Enjoyed the design part of it. I was going to be an architect, but then decided that, I don't know, that seems kind of boring to make buildings that don't move or anything. Nothing against architects. But decided to be a mechanical engineer in high school. I'm sorry, I don't have any kind of degree in theology or English or anything like that. So I'm sorry if I say something wrong or offending, or I'm sorry. I really, in advance, I really want to apologize if I get something wrong. I'm really trying not to. But being a human, I can't get everything right, so I'm sorry in advance if I mislead anyone. I'm trying not to. Before I graduated college, had a pretty big moment in my faith where I felt this letting go. Like I just had so much stuff on my shoulders and so many things weighing me down, and God felt like another one of those things that was kind of tugging at me in different directions. You know, I had, what are my plans as I grow up? What do I want to do when I get out of college? And I had, you know, things like dating that were pulling me in another direction, and it was really difficult. And when I was 23 years old, I remember it very clearly, I decided, you know what, like, all these other things I've been doing are really just not working out. They are not going anywhere. And I decided, you know what, like, I'm just gonna let God do this instead. It just feels like God knows better than me, and it would just be so much easier if I could just let Him decide where my life goes. So I did, and it felt like a huge burden lifted off me. That I was so worried about all the things that I wanted to do in my life, the person I wanted to be. I was so worried about how everything would end up, about how good I was, you know, what I deserved. And at that moment, I just really let God take over. I really just told Him, here's everything I got, and, you know, I hope you can do something with it. But it's all yours now. And so that's when my faith, I think, really became real. And then pretty soon after that, I met my wife, who's amazing. We've been married for 7 years. Always been best friends. Kind of an amazing story. Just God bringing two people together that are so good for each other. Yeah, I could talk about her a lot, but I won't. Also adopted 2 kids a few years later. We've had them for a little over 2 years, and 6 and 8. And again, I won't give you details, but it's been very difficult. And to all the adoptive parents out there, you'll know what I mean. Everyone else, maybe if you've been adopted, then you can understand too, but I'll just leave it at that. It's very difficult. Maybe I'll make a video on that later, but right now I'm still in the middle of it, so I don't even know how to talk about it very well. But yeah, extremely difficult. Recently just quit my job as an engineer, ironically, after spending so much time getting an engineering degree. Not to say it was a waste, I still love engineering, but I wanted to start my own business. I wanted to do something different, which is not this, by the way. This is just kind of something I've always wanted to do. But yeah, I'm still kind of searching for what I'm kind of made to do, I guess, for purpose in life. Kind of letting God direct me as best as I can. That's very difficult, though. It's hard to know what He wants sometimes. So, some things about me. I'm usually very sarcastic, goofy, very creative person. I like making things a lot, of course, being an engineer. And I like solving problems, maybe a little bit too much. It's probably one of my downfalls, honestly. And I'm a pretty emotional person, too. I have my ups and downs, and I try to not let that affect my judgment, but it's definitely something I struggle with. It's just feeling at ease with things. Yeah, that's pretty much everything about me. I'm sure there's more. Sorry, I keep saying I know it's going to bother so many of you who have been taught to speak correctly. I'm sorry about that. I'm an engineer. Yeah. Anyways, so for the things that I want you to get out of this channel, whatever video you end up watching, I want you to understand the truth of the Bible without it feeling like it needs to be something controversial or, I don't know, dividing between people. I want God to be able to speak through me, really, and that's the aim of, or it should be the aim of all Christians, is really to get yourself out of the way so that God can speak to other people through you. So that's what I hope that I want, I guess. Trying to get myself out of the way. Trying to break through all the arguments and icky things going on right now, and people just not having the best intentions for each other. When I get through all that, I want you to know that God loves you. He cares about you. I want you to know what God's character is like. I want you to know what Jesus came for, why he said what he said, why the Bible says what it says. It's not to make people angry, or it's not to give someone something to fight other people with. And I want to answer your questions. Like I said, you can email me directly. My email is specifically for this video or this channel is colby.hardtruths@gmail.com. So if you guys have any questions, there's not going to be any comments on these videos, but if you want to email me directly with anything, if you're just having a hard time and you need some advice, or even just need someone to vent to, or you need someone to understand what you're going through, I hope I can be that person. So email me. I also want to just make it clear that Jesus is so far beyond what you probably think he's like. He's so far outside of what we categorize him into, or what our silly arguments here on earth. He's so far outside of those things, and outside of all of our ridiculous motivations, that I think hopefully if I portray him correctly, it'll be a breath of fresh air of really understanding, oh, okay, now I see what God is really like, or what Christians believe that God is like, without feeling attacked and feeling, I don't know, feeling like this has to be something to divide people. I know I've said that like a bunch of times, I'm sorry. I want you to be able to choose for yourself whether you believe in God or not. I want you to be able to take all the facts and kind of ignore what you've heard on the news, what you've heard in passing, people's rumors and expectations, and just all the gunk that gets in the way of just plain old truth. So, yeah, that's the introduction to this channel, and sorry if I was rambling for way too long, but I hope you get something out of it. I hope that the videos that I put out are both challenging and rewarding and cause you to think about things more clearly and get a clearer picture of who God is. So, thank you for listening to this entire video. It's probably way too long, but thank you for being someone who wants to learn more. Appreciate it. I'll see you in my next video.